Disclaimer, I'm currently dealing with allergies and I'll be pausing a lot to this video because I don't want to die on camera. Hi everyone, for my video I'll be talking about John Locke's idea of personal identity and how it connects to memory. Locke believed that what makes you the same person over time is your ability to remember of your past experiences. Basically, if you remember something, then you are the same person who experienced it. I kind of think that's partly true. Memory definitely plays a big role of who you are, but I don't think it's the whole picture. Who you are so confirms from your heart, our emotions, our values, and the relationships we build, and, so on and so on. So my view is that memory shapes our identity, but it doesn't definitely, completely define us, So, basically, Locke's argument goes something like this. First, a person stays the same over time as long as they can remember their past, thoughts and experiences. And second, a memory is what connects different moments of consciousness into one continuous self, so like a timeline. And third, if someone were to lose all their memories, amnesia and stuff, or partial, they technically wouldn't be the same person anymore because they wouldn't experience that. In other words, Locke thinks a sense of me comes from ongoing thread and remembered experiences. Now, that seems totally logical, right? If your memories connect who you were before and who you are now, that does seem to kind of form an identity line, persona of who you are. Because, that's what you think. But I see a problem. You could, in theory, have someone else's memories and that wouldn't make, that wouldn't make you them. So memory alone can't be the only thing that, defines us. There has to be something, deeper, inwards, that makes us who we were, right? Something memory is only part of. I think Locke's ideas, we're just going to go with John. John's idea really works well in theory, but it doesn't kind of really hold up in, perfectly real life. People are more complex with, memories. For example, the movie Shipwrecked, really only partly watched it. The main character, forgot her name, loses her memory and ends up, living a completely different life than, what her memories are showing her. And, she's in a house with a bunch of boys, and it's crazy. The house, life, work, and, it doesn't make sense. So even though, she forgets her past, she still knows who she is deep down. She's a loving person. Her pure heart and stuff. Her kindness, her instincts, and, her heart doesn't disappear just because she, can't recall certain information. So I'd like to say Locke's, argument is valid, but it follows clear logic. But it's not completely sound, So the connection between memory and identity is strong, but it's incomplete. It's persuasive because memory definitely helps form story, but in reality, emotions, habits, and relationships also play a huge part in who we are, So here's how I see it. Memory helps build a person's story. It's like the background information, right? It's also lets us look into the back and say, that's me. But who we are also comes from our heart, our values we hold, the people we love, and the way we act in society, our parts. So even if someone forgets parts of their life and their identity, it will still show in the way we feel and behave. For example, people with memory loss often still respond to the love to familiar faces or music, even when they can't remember the details. That shows the identity. That shows that identity lives not just in memory, but emotion and, character too. Now, someone might argue against me by saying, but without memory, you can't really know our values or relationships. You wouldn't remember the people who shaped us. Okay, and? I'm kidding. I get that. Memory does help connect us to our values and to others and all that good stuff. But I think there's something deeper that remains, Even when memory fades, people still, show traces of who they were through emotional reactions and instincts. For instance, someone I can't talk. Someone with dementia. I am so sorry. I'm a nurse. I should remember these stuff. For instance, someone with dementia might not remember their family members, name, but they'll still smile at the thought of them because, they feel safe and they know them, even if, like, it's just their presence that's like, oh, yeah. That kind of recognition is, like, from the heart, not mind. So even with perfect memory, there's still a sense of self that survives. Okay, I think that's beautiful. So overall, I think Locke gives us, like, a really good starting point for understanding identity. Memory is a big piece of, of what makes us who we are, but it's not the only, thing that makes us who we are. Identity also lives in our love, our values, and the way we act, even when, like, we don't remember why we are who we are. I think that makes this human being so special. We're more than just memories, we're also heart and spirit that keeps showing us even when our past fades. In conclusion, we don't need no memory. Us.